Hey, how y'all doing out there? Welcome, all my beautiful people in this wondrous universe full of limitless possibilities that we are all capable of if we can only channel our thoughts, channel our emotions, and channel our energies in one singular direction for a sustained period of time. The net eventuality will definitely manifest itself here in his life. My name is Robert Prash, King of Comebacks with two Ks at the end on all social media outlets, and this is Creating Greatness Podcast. So, yeah, man, I'm happy, bro. I'm happy. Things been progressing. I just want to share the vibrancy. I want to share the energy. I want to share the joy and peace and all the things that are kind of just building up in me, man. Because that's what it's for. It's like finding our gift and finding our passion and sharing it with the world, man. So we are on this high right now because we're on the Everyday Excellence series, man. It's been going really great. If you've been tuning in for 99 cents a month, you got the official routine, very much free for everyone else. Was killing it in the gym, everyday excellence there. Then we just did the workplace, and now we're going to do at home today. I'm very upbeat because I've been working with my partners on the podcast network, CL the Source, with unlocking levels, and Cameron A. Sharp of the Unbiased Truth, man. And we just did an episode yesterday. It was the first edition of Champion Mindset. It's going to be a new talk with men talking about what it takes to be a good man, but also we're going to get crazy with it. May invite some women on the show to talk about their experience with men and their idea of what a good man is supposed to be in today's world. And then, we even joked around and talked about having my son on it because a children's point of view is highly valuable for that perspective, I think, because who does it really matter to the most? To be a good man is the women and children. So we definitely would love to have their perspective as well on that new championship mindset series. I'm very, very much looking forward to that. But today, everyday excellence, man, we're going to get to it because it's pretty detailed and it's all about life in general, mostly taking place at the home. So let's go to the first topic. Is just to remind everyone that this everyday excellence series is about intensity, vision, and strength. We want to focus on those ideas, focus on that energy, and bring it more and more into our life. If it's worth doing, it's worth doing right. So let's start at the most basic things in life and do them well. So, I talked about this a little bit before, and it can really seem to be boring, to be honest, but what are the building blocks? What are the things that you do the most? The things you do day in and day out. They may be some of the most mundane things, as in using the bathroom, brushing your teeth, combing your hair, um, putting lotion on. All these self-care practices, washing your body while you're in the shower. If we invite a little bit of meticulousness into our life, a little bit of excellence and expectation there for even that in the most littlest of things, and it is really just paying absolute attention to doing what you're doing it well, doing it efficiently, and it helps you stay out of your mind, and it really enhances your joy during these everyday mundane practices. So we're going to start there. We're going to build from the ground up, man. I mean, that's where it all starts. The foundation, the building blocks. So when we focus on these very small aspects of what we're doing, we do them well, we do them excellent. It's building that solid, rock solid foundation and that rock solid structure and routine that really is the basis of success. Because when things go awry, we are always going to resort back to our practices. So yeah, practice mindfulness in the morning routine, bathroom and all. We talked about that. Make your bed. It makes a difference, man. It sounds ridiculous, and it's just like the really meticulous practice of self-care that I have, from washing my body and brushing my teeth and putting lotion on and putting the oil in my beard, and that rigorous routine that has enhanced my life. And then to continue forward with that, like making my bed. I never made my bed. Me being a lean Six Sigma guy, I don't like wasting energy, and I always thought that I'm going to get back in it tonight. There's no point. I'm not having company. No one's coming in the bedroom besides me and my wife and my kids. And who cares and what does it matter? But I got it from Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. I'm not there yet. I'm in the parental page 126. I'm on about the parental portion, and it's good. But I heard from someone else like on a YouTube video that one of the rules is clean your home and make your bed and organize your space, because your space is a reflection of your mind. So thank you, Dr. Jordan Peterson, for that tip, because it got me to just doing something that I never ever thought was worth it: making my bed, keeping my room very neat and organized, everything where it's supposed to be. It's another Lean Six Sigma tool, 5S, that you can implement into your life. Everything has a place. And when you walk into your room throughout the day and you see it like that, man, it really does make a difference. It provides like a mood boost, and then also like a small energy boost to do other things, because now you're seeing that that's making a big difference in your day. How ridiculous it may sound, it doesn't matter if you're feeling the improvement, and then so feeling that result, it'll push you to even go further and organize and make more things neat and clean in your life. So yeah, we were talking about maintaining your home to the utmost, keep your space clean, sweeping, mopping, taking out the trash. And when we're doing these things, the things that may seem like really maybe not our favorite thing to do, but they're necessary ingredients in the management of your household. So once again, if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. And to take time and care in those small acts, it really sets the tone for the bigger accomplishments throughout the day. And once again, it just keeps the space clean, organized. You're doing the things that you need to do, whether you like them or not, with dignity, care, respect, a little bit of love. And it just makes each act sacred, more as like a ritual instead of routine. So, we want to do that. We want to make it conscious, paying attention while we're doing it. Something that I talk about all the time is precision of movement, a sadhana practice that I learned in an engineering book by Sadhguru over at the Isha Institute. And, he just speaks about doing everything consciously, thought going into each and every movement in whatever you're doing, and trying to do it very well, trying to do it very effectively, trying to do it very efficiently with grace, as like a dancer or a martial artist. And then I always revert back to this quote that I heard on a TV show, but it just made sense to me, man. It was in A Thousand Eyes, Netflix side movie that they made about a character in Marco Polo, who was like a martial arts master. And in one of the episodes, he says to Marco Polo, you could be a kung fu artist at anything. A chef could be a kung fu artist. So it really made sense to me, although it was on a semi-fictional TV show, that, yeah, you can master anything to the degree and do it with grace and love and wonderful energy and effort, and start to, take that the power and the finesse and the magic of martial arts and implementing it into your day-to-day routines. And it really can turn things into a game and make things that aren't so fun into fun activities. I do it all the time, and I could be frustrated about doing something that I would have something else to do, and then I switch into that mindset, and instantly I'm like back in the game. I'm playing and I'm smiling, and it works in that way. So if it's worth doing, it's worth doing well. Not only well, but excellently, and that will bleed forth into your other endeavors. We talked about the precision of movement, and once you start hitting once you start hitting all the buttons and you start firing on all cylinders like that and taking care of business in every aspect of your life, you're really going to start to accept nothing less in all of your endeavors. And that's where we talk about building that foundation, building the strength, that rock solid routine that'll really begin to grow and expand and bleed forth into all of your endeavors. Remember the power of expectations, and expectation goes for everyone. I'm trying to keep the light on so I can continue to write and continue to talk. Expectation goes for everyone. I place high expectations on my children. They know what I expect, and they're going to perform to that level. I place expectations on my spouse, and she does on me, rightly so, as a way to modify each other's behavior and tailor each other to what the other person wants. It's part of coexisting. It's part of creating a harmonious family that you give and take in that way. It's not always fun, and it doesn't always seem fair, but when you include yourself as a whole unit in anything, whether it be a family, a team, a workplace. To give and take in that way is very beneficial to the overall organism. And it's something that I learned, as a father and parental figure, the patriarch of my family, that a lot of times I have to sacrifice my own emotions, my own wants and needs for the greater good. But on the flip side of that, I also get some pretty good perks. So, once again, it's all about balance. But when you create that balance and that harmony within your home, you'll start to notice things going much more smoothly. So control. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. We're here in the home. When you step outside that door, a lot of things that are outside of your control. You know, you have a lot less control over what happens outside there than you do within your home. And the world does a wonderful job of being chaotic, being stressful, being dramatic, and toxic at times. So I think it's really worth paying attention to not allowing that outside strife to make its way into your household. And I mean this in physical and literal ways as well as spiritual ways. Like physically, I take off my shoes before I walk into my house, and I ask everyone to do the same because you ever look at the bottom of your shoes, they're probably black, you've been all over, and that's great. You don't want to bring those physical germs and toxins into your home. So that's step one, and then we'll go from there. So yeah, we work hard to keep those things outside our home. This is our retreat, our safe place, the place where we will create and grow with our family. So watching our words is a big one. Something that's excuse me, very difficult for me at times is like cursing in front of my kids. I'm working on it. None of us are perfect. I'm never going to sit here and speak self-righteously because I'm a constant work in progress. It's part of what creating greatness is, to share my journey and anything that I find helpful in becoming better, then to share with you. So words are powerful. We talked about this before, like in language, way back in the archives, and spelling. People call it spelling because they're placing their magic out into the word. They're creating their reality with their words. And in the same way, we create our reality within our homes. So I think it's worth a conscious effort to maintain a certain level of speech within your home to make sure that the words are loving, kind, caring. They're necessary words. They're true words. And when harsh words need to be said, we need to make sure we're doing it without anger. We'll talk about that later, about disciplining children. So, right, practice. We talked about that. We talked about controlling inside your house. The world does a great job watching our words. Yes, right. We're moving into it. Discipline is especially needed with children. I have three hard-headed, or I like to say strong-willed, because once again, language, and that's a perfect example of changing the language from negative to positive. So I have three strong-willed sons, and sometimes they need a harsh discipline. And I'm not always talking about physical. In fact, it very rarely gets to that point because I'm able to rise my voice to a certain level or say certain things in certain ways. But I have a rule with disciplining my children, and it's a rule learned by failure. I think it's fair to say that. When my first son was born, I was very hard on him, and he probably got more timeouts and spankings than the other two because I was still learning how to be a father. And I made a rule when I was learning how to be an effective disciplinarian to never discipline my children out of anger. It's always taking that moment to sit back, breathe, and process it. And then if disciplinary action is needed, whether it's yelling or elevating my voice, or even if it does get to the rare spanking, I do it without being angry. I'm not angry at all, I promise you. I'm consciously applying the appropriate amount of force to get my point across, where I'm saying the things that I need to say at a specific level that I know is going to grab them and make them understand that I'm being absolutely serious. And it's just done with control and no anger. And then I literally could go back within a few seconds to what I was doing with no anger at all, and then talk to my sons afterwards. I think that's also important. Is it just happened this morning where I had to discipline my middle child, and I took him, separated him from the other two once he was done crying from the scolding that I given him. And we came in here and we talked. And I said, Robbie, what was the problem? How were you feeling? Why were you acting that way? And we had a great talk, and then a bonding moment, and then it becomes like the discipline is now solidified, man. Because we did that. I was the bad guy. Now we've discussed it and talked about it, and now we hug, kiss, and make up and move on and keep it in that way. So I think it's really important to whenever you're having a debate with any member of your household, because there's also conversations that need to be had with adults in your household, whether it's your spouse or mom or dad or an uncle or a grandparent that's helping out. Sometimes if you are the leader of your household, if you are the person that manages the household, there needs to be discussions that are not always so comfortable, and these discussions need to be held without emotion. They need to be held matter of factly, with openness and receptivity to having a back and forth situation, not just a one-way street, because that borderlines on tyranny. And if you are the leader or the manager of your household, you want to give and take with everyone. You don't want to be a tyrant. So watching our words. Next, I think it's very important to open up the windows, and I don't mean to let the air in, although I mean that as well. But first of all, I mean letting light in. We've talked about quite a bit on this podcast. Andrew Huberman, one of my favorite podcasters, Andrew Huberman Lab, and he talks about the early morning sun viewing. Getting outside is best. We all know this, and sitting by a window and receiving the sun, receiving the light is very much less effective. So I do get outside and I do get the windows open. But first thing, before I get a chance to do it, I like opening up all the shades, getting the sun, letting the light in. If it's a good temperature out, I'm opening the windows, opening up the door right here, the screen door, letting the air flow, maybe turning the ceiling fan on, letting the sun and the light and the air come in and cleanse the space, cleanse the aura. It's very powerful, man. The natural remedies are very much powerful, and throughout time they've been diminished or they've been minimized, but in actuality, they are very effective. So we go from that and cleansing the atmosphere in that way. My very favorite way to cleanse the atmosphere is adding green plants, man. It's been scientifically proven to enhance your mood by seeing these live green plants in your house. And there are very simple plants that you can buy, like the snake plant or the spider plant or like an aloe plant, that are very heavy oxygen producers, and they're you don't need a green thumb to take care of these plants. If you have a window with a little bit of light, and you water them once a week or so, depending on the season, it's not that complicated, and you can keep these plants alive and keep them in your home. You have plants like the snake plant that eat mold and feces. You have aloe plants, and it's worth mentioning that these things can get in any home, no matter how clean. So it's not like, a shot there. I keep snake plants in my home. I'm traveling now. I haven't had a chance to get another one, but I do have an aloe plant in the back that you've seen in my other podcast, and a spider plant in the back, and then a couple other windows, just to enhance the atmosphere, to have my vision hitting that live green every now and then, and also adding that life-giving oxygen indoors. So I'm cleansing the air inside, where a lot of us spend, some people spend more time inside than outside. So it's important that we keep that good air quality indoors. Honorable mention is keeping jasmine or lavender in the bedroom. The fragrance promotes calmness and mood enhancing benefits. The aloe plant is an extra oxygen producer during the night, so it's also a good bedroom plant to increase the oxygen there. And we talked about the snake plant in the bathroom, or the spider plant out in the living room, because they're also big oxygen producers and eat up some of this nasty stuff that gets in the air. So it's a huge level up, and it's very simple. And also something I think that's worth mentioning about growing anything, man, is it teaches you about life. And it also enhances your perception, because sometimes as you get a little bit further into like taking care of plants, you'll notice like the smallest little tiniest details of change affects them dramatically. So like where a human can run through life and get a lot of influences, and I think most people are more affected than they realize, but without really feeling it or it affecting us in a major way. So plants open you up to the subtlety of life. and opening yourself up to the subtlety of life will enhance your perception. And when you enhance your perception, you're able to perceive more in other situations and people, and it gives you competitive edge. So it's like, I was like killing two birds with one stone. So as you move through the practices for spiritual reasons, like nurturing life, as I'd like to, practice that, um, you know, you're also still leveling up. And I love that. It's like a win-win. So we talked about that. And then some people like to take it a step further in cleansing the home or cleansing the aura. I myself do this, especially when I go to a new Airbnb and it's not my space and I don't know who was in there before me, whether they cleaned or not. And I'm not talking about like germs, like to get sick. I could care less about that crap. I'm strong. My immune system is powerful and I'm not worried about the small details like that. But I am worried about the energy, and I don't want to be going into a home or any type of place that I'm renting for a small amount of time and getting somebody's funky energy. So one of the very first things I do is burn sage throughout the home. They say you should go corner to corner, but I think that it's all about your intention. But it's a practice that's been used for thousands of years. It's called smudging to cleanse the negative energy or cleanse the aura of spaces, and I do recommend it. A couple other honorable mentions for cleansing the space: salt lamps. Salt lamps have been, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Creating Greatness podcast, that as they heat up, it releases positive ions. And in that way, increases the positive vibe within the home. And then you also have beeswax candles that have been shown to release those positive ions as well, and enhancing the atmosphere. And I think it's worth mentioning at this point in time to tell you that most candles are toxic, and most of them have carcinogens, especially the most popular ones that have all the fancy and great scents. And I know it kind of stinks because burning those candles in your home are great, and especially if you're at a company or if you're just coming home from work, and it's a nice vibe, but you're inhaling toxic chemicals. So be very careful about those type of candles. And then also just take that same philosophy into anything that you're bringing in your home, like any product, because a lot of our cleaning products have carcinogens. That's why all my stuff's plant-based, and but there's other alternatives. You have to go my way, but just the awareness will carry you a long way. So yeah, we talked about candles. Now relationships, because we're moving into relationships, because in the home, yeah, there are those basic fundamentals that we've spoke about up until this point, but the real matter at hand is the people, is the vibe, is the love, is the relationships that we have with the people within our home. So relationships, I try to aim at the highest, the most loving, the most caring, the most compassionate being that I could be to the people around me. And I focus on these things because I am not naturally that person. So I really have to work on making sure that I'm taking each other's needs or taking my family's needs into consideration, making sure I'm being loving, caring, and kind and supportive to them. And also not by being naive, because you could be the type of person that's very agreeable and get in a relationship with a person, and now you're living with the person and you're starting to maybe get pushed or leaned on or stepped on a bit because you're continually one way, loving, caring, kind, and compassionate, and all that is wonderful. And I encourage you to be that way, but be that way with an awareness of exactly what is happening, what the reality is, and not being naive, not being able to be taken advantage of, because you're seeing things for exactly what they are. You're so confident with yourself, and the self-love within you is strong that you would no longer allow anybody to deceive you. All the red flags that are popping up, you're seeing them right away. And I mean that with anybody that's in your house. I mean, people that are there, adults that are helping out, your children. Like, don't BS me. I see through it all. And this is what it is. Because once again, there are expectations within this household that you must uphold. If you want to be part of this thing, this family, this empire that we're creating, there are rules to this game. And I think that, that live and let live is great, but there's ways to do things. And Without any structure, routine, or discipline or rules within your household, things can get awry, crazy, and out of hand very, very quick. You can always bend rules when you want, but if they're not there and things get crazy, then putting that space back is going to be 10 times more difficult than it was for you to set it, and then at a certain point in time, maybe bend it or allow other things that may not always be allowed. And then, you're looking like a champ that day instead of getting walked all over because you were letting them do it every single day and all the time. So praise and rebuke. Now, this is what I'm talking about. I just think it's important equally. Now, and this is not just for children, this is for anyone within your household, if you're the leader or the manager, or even if you are not, you have to have equal say. There's no point in saying I'm the king of my domain, or I'm the boss of my household, or I'm the head of the household, or whatever. If you're not taking in every single person's opinion into the consideration of the final decision, then you are leaning towards being a tyrant. If I wasn't, first of all, using my mother's opinion, who's been on this earth a lot longer than me, has a hell of a lot more education than me, then I would be minimizing my resources within my home. I have another brain here that can help with the kids, that can help with decisions, that can help with opinions on any topic that I need to make a decision on. I have that. Why not use it? My wife, who's obviously highly educated, way more so than myself, been through different things than me. Why would I not take her opinion and everything that she has to say about a given topic before making a final decision? Because if I'm not doing that, I'm wasting amazing resources. And even the kids, to a degree, I at least let them have a say, man. And I think that's important because, they want to be heard. They want to be part of the group, even though they're young and they can't comprehend a lot of the details that are going into the decision, they should at least be able to speak their piece. And that right there gives them confidence. It makes them feel part of something. And 9 times out of 10, they don't get their way with me. And I'm talking about big decisions like, where do you guys want to go next when we're traveling, or where do you want to eventually buy the house and live? I ask them, and then I ask them why. And then if they don't get their way, I explain to them the details. Whether they really fully comprehend it all or not, I talk to my children like adults. I talk to them how I expect them to talk to the world. Once again, back to expectations. So, flip side of the coin, when they're doing something well, you need to speak up, because more powerful than the rebuke is the praise. And if you're not praising when if you're not rebuking when they're having unacceptable behavior, you have a whole nother set of problems. But if you're not praising when they're behaving in the way that you want them to, you're minimizing your resources. You're only focusing on the negative and how can I get them in line with what I want? But when they behave in that way, we have to also make sure we're there celebrating their victory. Whether it's my 2-year-old, he's about to turn 2, on the potty, going potty the first couple times, he's just started, celebrating him like he just won a Super Bowl. Whether it's my oldest being on honor roll, celebrating like it was a Super Bowl, or my middle son is very creative, building something or creating some sort of art project. It's the greatest thing that I've ever seen in my life, because I remember times when I really felt bad in my life, when I just felt like no one really cared about what I was accomplishing or even believing that I could accomplish it. So I'm very supportive, very encouraging, and praising as often as I'm rebuking, to reward the good, rebuke the bad, and find the balance in between and get everyone on the same page. But here goes the most important aspect of it, because you hear me talking about all this. Oh, they need to behave like this, and they need to do this. And that's all well and good. And some of you out there may be saying, this guy, man, you can't run it all. You can't run everything. And you're damn right you can't. If you're running your household, if you're the manager of the household, if you're the king of the castle, if you're not subject to these praises and these rebukes, then you're a tyrant, man. You have to be open to constructive criticism. You have to be open to everyone else's opinion and everyone else's perspective. And in that way, you'll become the just king, leading by example. One thing that I've learned being a father or a spouse or whatever, runner of this household, is like, you can't always get people to do what you want, no matter how great it is for them. For instance, for me, this is why I do my podcast. I know the power of prayer. I know the power of meditation. I know the power of yoga. I know the power of physical fitness. I know the power of eating certain foods and staying away from other foods. And I can be very, let's just call it for how it is, annoying, like within my household, the way that I almost like harp on people. And it's something that I'm working on, to say it in a kinder way, or a more open way, or maybe sometimes not saying it at all, because sometimes, people just want to do what they want to do, and they don't always need you trying to guide them in the way that you feel is the best way to be led. So I took on the perspective of like, dude, you just got to do it. You just got to do it, man. You just have to do it. And if that's the way for you, then you have to do it. And let them see you do it, and let them continue seeing you do it, consistently doing it day in and day out. Once again, back to building that foundation, building them building blocks of success. And over time, they'll start doing it, man, because they're seeing that it works. Like, there's things that my wife does now, like cold showers or like fasting, that I was telling her about for a long time before she did it. And almost like, babe, please, like, you're such a great performer. Like, if you try these things, you will exceed even your own expectations. But there was some resistance there. But when the resistance faded, when I shut the hell up, kept to my practices, and she's seen improvement in me. And that's when all of a sudden she goes, hey, I tried the cold shower. Like, and we talked about it, and it was fun. And now it's becoming a bonding moment instead of a breaking moment when you're jabbing at a person to go, hey, you could be doing that, you could be doing that. So instead, like I said, I shut the hell up. I kept doing it, stayed on my job, let everyone see me doing it. And then now, I'm getting praises from my son Jonathan, meditating for like 10 minutes straight at the Isha Yoga Center, where people were like blown away that he was absolutely perfectly still for that long at 6 years old. And then, like I said, my wife's coming to me like, hey, I was taking a cold shower. Or my mom coming to me and going, hey, I looked at this product that I was putting in my hair, and look at all these chemicals in it. I will no longer use this product. It's throwing it in the trash. And I go, it's a win. It's a win for Papa, man, because I've been telling them all so long about these things. It never worked, man. But I continually stayed to the course, and that creates, you set the tone. You set your tone. Leaders lead by example, man, and it can't be getting around. It's just like your kids are going to do as you do, not as you say. It's one of the frustrating facts about parenthood that can't be avoided. So, use it to sharpen your tool, man. It's like, my sons tell me if I'm doing something that is not the best self decision, and that's okay. They're allowed to say that in my house. Dad, you're eating too many sweets, or Dad, my very bad habit that I'm working on, you're eating too fast. Remember to chew and meticulously masticate your food, because it's better for your digestion. You won't be complaining you get a bellyache later, Dad. These things are acceptable in my household. I made them that way, and I use it to sharpen myself, man. It's like, I continually try to be the guy that my kids think I am, or I continually try to be that person that I know my wife deserves. And in that way, man, I'm always striving to better myself. And I'm always pushing them to do the same, because it has to be an all-inclusive thing. It's the thing that vibrates and creates that harmony within the home. So yeah, take on everyone's perspective. I think it's important to do that. It's like, at certain times, like right now, I'm focusing on my middle child a little more than the other two, because he's been displaying some behavioral changes that are concerning to me. And I just feel like he needs more attention, man. He's the middle kid. I was the middle kid. I know what it's like. And so I'm focusing on him now. So it's like taking on everyone's perspective in a given situation, or even as a whole, to try to understand, how do they feel, or where do they feel they fit in within the structure of this family. And doing that provides a lot of perspective on how to deal with that person. This is important, man. Get outside and experience nature together. It's a bonding time. It's something that you don't even realize till you get out of there, because once you get out there and you get your feet in the grass, and you get some trees around, and you're getting out to the park or out to the woods to take a hike with your family, now you're limiting distractions, especially like my wife always brings her cell phone for emergencies, but keeps it up unless we want to take a picture or something. But everything else is left at home. No computers, no iPads, no TVs. And you get out there in the silence of nature. And, with mine, I got 3 boys, so we're digging the dirt. We're looking at bugs. We're looking for animals, we're jumping on rocks and jumping over logs and things of that nature. And you really create a strong bond by doing that, because you're just engaging with each other. There's no distractions, like I said, no TVs, no iPads, etc. And it just creates a really great atmosphere to do some family bonding time anywhere you can get it. Anywhere you can go, no matter where you live, there's some sort of park with trees and grass. You can get your socks off and get in the grass, and it's great. You get that electromagnetic signal that's been proven for some health benefits, and connect you to your environment, connect you to your world, because that's a big aspect of it too. Like, you're getting out there in nature, you're connecting as a family, you're bonding, you're growing as a family, but you're also getting connected with the world and spirit, Mother Nature, and your environment, man. It just really goes a long way to promote that harmonious vibe that we're really aiming for within our homes and our families. And yeah, teamwork makes the dream work, man. Hey, man. And this is something that I like to do. It's like team building skills within the family, because ultimately, once you get married, you are now in business with that person. And then once you have children, you have now essentially created a corporation. So, why not use some of these skills that corporations do to enhance their productivity and cohesiveness into your family? Like, have family meetings, or like I told you, I use Lean Six Sigma to manage my household. And teamwork is nice, like getting, because I have a big family, so I have 6 people, like getting these two matched up or those two, and sort of mixing and matching, because it creates interrelationships within the family, and it's very beneficial to the whole organism if every person has a good relationship with every other person. Like, you understand what I'm saying? I'm doing my fingers. I'm just laughing at the ridiculousness of it. But the lines are going from person to person to person to person to person. As a whole, you have a great relationship, but then individually, like, I have individual time with each one of my sons. I make sure I have individual time with my wife. Hell, sometimes I even have individual time with my mom, where I tell the kids, go play, because me and my mom are having a great conversation. And those things are important to build the individual relationships. It's just like sometimes I'll have my 2 oldest go outside and play, because I don't so much trust my youngest by the pool yet. And they're having their time. And then me and Rocky are having our time. So it's these individual relationships that really increase the overall love, harmony within your house. Adversity creates bonds, man. We're talking about all these tools to level up, to improve the quality of life, to make life more livable, more effortless, more flow, more harmony within life. But no matter how hard you strive, you're always going to face adversity. And I encourage you not to shirk when these things happen, because if you pay attention and you focus, it is a big opportunity to A, learn, and then B, create bonds within that family structure. Because when you face adversity together, here's the key: you stick together through it. You don't all just go your own way out of frustration or anger. You sit through the difficult situation, the difficult conversations. You have them. You spend the time with yourself, with your family, and it will create a strong bond once you've reached the other side. You read about it all the time. People that got in life or death situations together, they create lifelong bonds. And in the same way, you'll create that lifelong bond with your family, where the strings are always attached no matter where they go in the world, because you faced that adversity and persevered together. Encourage and support everyone's best self. See the potential and articulate that potential to them. Now, this is important with children, but it's also important with adults. Is like, I even do it to my mom, and she's in her 60s, and she goes, shut up, Rob. But I still do it. I see my mom's capable of doing great things still, things that she may never ever done or tried, and I articulate to them, whether they take it or not. They know that someone else knows their worth. I obviously do it with each one of my sons based upon their individual talents, but also encouraging them to step outside those boxes. Because, like, especially with my youngest, Rocky, he's just a brute. He's like a bull in a china shop, like my mom used to call me. And I try to encourage him to expand that horizon. It's great. Physicality is great. It's an aspect of life that cannot be avoided. And being strong and physical is a wonderful attribute, but expand that, man, and use other things, because you have it. Don't think like me when I was growing up, where I just thought I was tough and strong and I was stupid and I didn't know how to do nothing else, and I only focused on that one little tiny aspect of who I was, and it brought me failure after failure after failure. So it's like, see the potential in them, articulate to them. Like, once again, encourage your spouse. I know you can do this next school. I know you can graduate this NP. Be their biggest cheerleader. Encourage them, articulate exactly how you feel about what you see in them, because they may not see it. And so it's important, think about the times where someone has told you how amazing they thought you were or how you could be, and imagine and remember how that made you feel, and then, reverse the situation and give somebody else that feeling, especially in your home. Show interest, man, even when it's difficult. It's times where my kids come up to me for the 10th time in the day with this, a picture that looks very similar to one they brought to me at the 9th time, and I have to show the same level of excitement of seeing that picture like it's the most wonderful picture I've ever seen in my life. So just always remember that it's like, pay attention and engage even when it's difficult, even if you're flustered or you have other things going on. It's like, even if it's just a second, man, to stop and say, whoa, wow, look at that, man, that's amazing, let's put it on the refrigerator. Boom, done. And then I'm back on what I'm doing, and my kid is not damaged, and he's encouraged to continually create. And in the same way, I'm sorry, with your spouse or with anyone in the house, it's like, show interest, man. I mean, there are things that my wife and my mom like to talk about. They like Hollywood and gossip a little bit, and that's fine, man. And I would rather those conversations not be happening in my house, but you can't be the tyrant. You have to live and let live to some degree. And if I happen to be in a space where they're having that conversation, man, every now and then, if I hear a point where I could chime in or become part of the conversation or engage with them, then I do, because it's all about, once again, that cohesive unit. We talk about showing interest. We've been talking about being reciprocative in praise and good deeds. Praise and good deeds equals harmony, and harmony equals success. And that's where I'm going to start to end it. I believe that equation holds very true. So I'll say it again. Praise and good deeds equal harmony, and harmony equals success. And I know all these things sound difficult. I know that they sound an awful lot of work, and it can seem like too much, man. And that's why balance is important. That's why me and my family schedule regular days, maybe one a week or one every other week, where we just shut down. We don't purchase anything. We don't consume anything. We don't go anywhere. We don't buy anything. We just kind of chill, maybe go outside, get a little light exercise, and days like that of just really chilling and doing nothing, or active leisure time where we're going and we're traveling, and we're enjoying all the time. So it's creating that balance within your home and your mind in that way. And I find that it's always beneficial to know all these things. And maybe you're not able to do much of it. Maybe you're only able to do a little bit of it. And all these things have taken a very long time for me to cultivate, develop, learn, become aware of, and change and adapt and create. And it's a work in progress. There were times where I was just doing one little bit of these things, but I always follow this philosophy. I was aim at the highest. I was aim at the highest possible eventuality that I could possibly think of, either the best version of myself or the best case scenario. I always aim at that. I always focus on that. I always strive for that. And in that way, even if I fall short, I always end up performing pretty well. We always end up sitting at a pretty good space. So wherever you are at on this scale of love and happiness and harmony within your household, just start scaling it, man. Pick one thing and attack it, and just continually chip away at those things, and it'll grow and grow and grow. And your happiness will continually increase. You don't have to be there tomorrow where all the happiness and harmony is there and everything's okay, because then it still won't be like that. We talked about, after doing all that work, you'll still face adversity, but it's these things that I'm talking about: creating the building blocks, creating the structure, creating the routine, cultivating the strength, the discipline, and the love and the connection and the harmony in your household to be able to face any adversity that life could possibly throw at you with ease. Thank you for listening in. My name is Robert Prash, the King of Comebacks with 2 Ks at the end on any social media platform. Creating Greatness Podcast at Gmail. Hit me up, man. We can talk about it. I love y'all very much. Peace.